Hello my soccer universe, for a quick review of the first leg of the round of 16 fixtures in the Conference League. Quite some nice games in there and plenty of goals, especially in the early slot where all the big teams were playing. The late slot, was maybe not that exciting. However, we had the goal of the evening in the late slot scored by Pululu for Jagiellonia Białystok. And I gotta say, except for Chelsea, all the other favorites were a little bit struggling. I mean, I'm looking at Betis, only a 2-2 at home against Vitória. We have to look at Rapid, who, despite a lot of control, also only managed a 1-1 draw at Banja Luka. And Panathinaikos beat Fiorentina 3-2 at home. Really crazy game. And I again have to wonder, why do you play reserve goalkeepers in the Europa League? Terracciano is not up to it. You saw that in that game. So that might dampen Fiorentina's chances going forward. But before we look at the chances, let's recap briefly all the games that happened yesterday in the evening. Despite having recently really good showings in the Liga, Betis only managed a 2-2 draw against Vitória from Guimarães, who actually finished second in the overall table of the Conference League. Yes, they could have taken a first half lead through Bakambu, but it was an offside goal. However, Bakambu gets the opening goal in the 40th minute after an Anthony assist. However, almost immediately, João Mendes with a beautiful curl shot equalizes in the 51st. Betis then really tried to go on top of things and get the go-ahead goal in the 75th minute when Ruibial runs on the side, drags it back to Isco, who from the edge of the box more or less guides it into the far corner. But it was not the winning goal, as Oliveira after Mendes cross gets the equalizer for Vitória. The atmosphere in Copenhagen was great. However, Chelsea are just too good for this competition. Let's face it, even though they had struggles in the Premier League, and even though the first half ends goalless, right after the half, Reece James takes a shot where the goalie really should have done better. 46th minute, 1-0 Chelsea. And a little bit later, there's a pressing moment on the side. No one is helping out the poor guy who is pressed by two Chelsea players. The ball is then quickly put into the box. George assists Fernandes for the 2-0. At this moment the game could have gone ugly. However, after Lopez free kick, Gabriel Pereira heads it in to make the final score a little bit more palatable for the Danes. Molde, who had never lost against Legia Warsaw in Europe, started out furiously, having a 3-0 halftime lead, and there were some nice goals in there by Hestad and Gulbrandsen, but also the weird one by Eriksson, where a back pass, he just gets his ball on and guides it into net. However, Legia fight back and put two back in the second half with Jodina and Lukinja, 64th and 67th, so it went rather quick. You thought there might be an equalizer in there. Alas, there was none. Molde with the advantage going into the return leg in Poland. And then we had another 3-2 home win, this time for Panathinaikos, who had a 2-0 lead. Swiderski with a weird yet beautiful shot gave Pana already the lead in the 5th minute. And then Maksimovic doubles it. However, it was a big mistake by Terracciano, who cannot hold the ball. Why are you playing with second string goalkeepers in Europe? However, Fiorentina just a minute later pulls one back through Beltran, and then Fagioli in the 23rd already equalized. They even thought they took the lead through Moreno. However, it was an offside. So Fiorentina on top going into the halftime, but then Panathinaikos again put the pressure on, and Tej in the 55th minute with a wide range shot reestablishes the lead. Then the game kind of settles. Panathinaikos had more or less control. Fiorentina didn't create all that much anymore. Rapid will rue that they only got out with a 1-1 draw from Banja Luka, despite being largely the better team. They had control, they created chances. Yes, it took them a while to wake up early on, maybe a little bit more for Borac, but then Bellew with a really nice shot in the 34th minute gave Rapid the lead that they could have doubled already in the first half. Second half, there were quite a few chances. There was especially one by Sangare, who really should have put it away. There was a penalty given, that then was an offside. They actually scored the goal, however Cvetkovic touches it with his hands. So, things not quite going right, but you still were much in control, and then you give away a penalty. Sangare goes up with his hand, and Vukovic in stoppage time makes it 1-1. You still would think, though, that Rapid will put this right in the return leg. Celje continued their good run, beating Lugano at home 1-0 with a Svetlin header in the 33rd minute after a really nice cross by Delore Chaubet. Celje, more or less the better team. There was really only one chance by Lugano, where after a free kick, it's a short-range header that is put wide, and to add insult to injury, Papadopoulos is sent off for a straight red card as well for Lugano. The game between Jagiellonia and Cercle was rather tight in the first half. However, it turns in the 59th minute when Francis is sent off for a second yellow card, deservedly so, and then it all breaks. Cercle give away a penalty 5 minutes later. Pululu steps up, converts, then a Romanchuk shot is badly deflected into the net just 6 minutes later, and then Pululu himself in the 78th minute with a bicycle kick adds a third goal of the evening. Jagiellonia through to the next round, the Polish champions, don't forget, and the final is in Poland. The Djurgårdens may have had a good double chance in the first half, however Pafos got more and more into the game and took the lead through Tankovic in the 65th minute, and then just 4 minutes later Tankovic seemingly had doubled the lead, even though the goalie was lying injured on the ground. That was from a clash with his own defender, but in the build-up to that collision and the goal, then eventually there was an offside, so it didn't count. Djurgårdens overall rather disappointing. You can tell their championship is not quite yet underway. According to my model, quite a few ties are still open. There's really only one that is more or less decided, and that is Jagiellonia against Cercle Bruges. Yes, 3-0 advantage. And if we would argue Chelsea, I mean, with an away win, they are not going to lose that one at home to Copenhagen, I would think. However, Vitória against Real Betis, wide open, still advantage Betis because they are La Liga team, but I can very well see Vitória moving on from there. Rapid have to get it right in the second leg. I mean, Banja Luka is not a team that should give them trouble. However, we have seen Banja Luka can give them trouble because Rapid cannot put their chances away. Fiorentina, hill to climb. Panathinaikos have been proving quite sturdy, and it won't be a cauldron at the Artemio Franchi. Therefore, Panathinaikos just a slight advantage there as well. Same thing for Celje, who also hold a 1-0 lead. Pafos and Molde. Those two are much bigger favorites than one would expect, because both Djurgården and Legia performed really well in the league phase. Though I can see in the cauldron of Warsaw that Legia could turn that one around. As for the overall chances, it's still Chelsea. Fiorentina really lost. Betis now overtaking them despite only playing a 2-2 draw. Panathinaikos suddenly rising, as is Vitória, and of course Białystok, who are also more or less through. The return fixtures next Thursday happen in the opposite order, so the late fixtures from yesterday will be the early fixtures. So, there are a few interesting ones in there. I, of course, will probably watch Rapid against Borac because, I want Austrian teams to do well in Europe just for the coefficient. However, I think the better slot is the late one, where we have, of course, Fiorentina against Panathinaikos. That, I think, for me is the standard type. But also Vitória against Betis. This is a really, really, really tight one. And let's see what Legia can do against Molde at home. So those were my few cents on what happened yesterday in the Conference League. I think this competition is way more competitive than one would think. However, we have a huge favorite in Chelsea, who are probably going to romp through the competition quite easily. And yeah, that might not be the greatest thing that such a big name team is in this competition, even though they're not that well in the Premier League at the moment. But none of these teams are that well, with the exception of Betis, who really had a little bit of a rude awakening at home against Vitória. In any case, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like these. I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!